Yo, what is up, guys, and welcome to a video I've been waiting to do for a long time, ever since the announcement of these two games, Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. Now, today I'm going to be sharing some of the main things I thought was cool. I have it all written down on paper, so let's go ahead and get right into it. Now, right now, I just want to talk about the most important part of the games to me, and that's what the characters look like in game, and will we be able to dress our own characters and do what we want with the characters this time around. Now, Brendan and May in game, as far as we've seen, look pretty fucking amazing. Like, as you know, with the pictures of Brendan and May in the release, I think from Koro Koro, it was shown like Brendan actually had a tan, but in game he actually looks the same. So that's pretty good. I'm guessing maybe there's no way they could have turned it around that fast. It was barely even a week ago that they released those scans. So I don't know. Like maybe they just went with it, and maybe they just showed Brendan off that way, because Brendan never actually had that skin tone. But that could also mean another one of the points and stuff. So another one of the points I made, wrote down for you guys. So maybe we can get back to that later about Brendan's skin tone. But May, she pretty much looked the same, but she did kind of look older. I will say she looked older. She probably looked like she was 12. They both looked like they was 12 and 13 around this time, with Brendan looking older than May and things like that. But yeah, in game though, they really, really, truly stand out, and I think they're the best looking characters made so far. They have like smoother animations than the other two. The other two look like kind of clunky, like they has a stick up their ass. I had to say it. It looked like they had a stick up their ass when they was running and stuff. Like they was trying to make these elongated gaps between their legs so that way they don't have to rub their booty cheeks together. But I'm just gonna leave that where it is. And the next point is animation enhancement. As far as HM use and showing of like transitionings between cities and all that good stuff. So from the trailer we've seen, as you can see, it's playing in a loop and stuff on my video. So you guys can see that it's gonna be playing over and over again, or maybe I'll just cut it out. I'll just cut it to where you guys can see it, and I'll just have that replaying. But yeah, HM use. It seems like HM use is probably gonna get if I'm not mistaken, maybe this type of like actual transition to where it shows like where you're going. Like maybe they've drawn every city up like in a little pace. Like, let's see, how can I put it? When you're going to a city in Pokemon and when they want to show the whole city off, I think like sometimes they have these little artworks, like these little paintbrush artworks, and I think we're probably gonna actually be seeing that. But like it's probably gonna be like a paintbrush artwork with probably some animations like lights and stuff to big buildings and things going off, Pokemon Center lights and stuff on. Maybe we might see a couple little people, few people walking around and stuff before we actually land there. And if that's actually winds up coming to be, that would actually be truly amazing. It would be revolutionary in the Pokemon series. And if it has already happened before, I never saw it, so you guys can tell me what Pokemon game it's happened in before, because I've played like at least one game from all the trilogies. Yeah, all the different trilogies to every region, and I still haven't seen anything like that. So if we do get that with the HMUs, I'll be very, 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 very happy with that. And as far as showing of transitions, now we did get to see that when you ride like with I forgot the guy that has the Pelipper. I'll put his name in the annotation in the video, but he actually, when you riding on that, you actually get to see your character like sitting in the front of the boat, and they're actually going with the boat and stuff, and you can actually see your character. So that's pretty good as well. Like I said, it would be very revolutionary to see those type of things in Pokemon, to where we actually get to see the whole travel instead of a black screen and then we go there. Also, I wanted to talk to you guys about like basically the graphics in general. The graphics look like they was bumped up probably about times two of what they were in well, 1.5, because I'm pretty sure they're saving like the actual graphical power of the engine that they made for these 3DS games for the next games, which is going to be Gen 7, I believe. Yeah, if we're moving into it, Gen 7, I'm pretty sure they're going to save that graphical power. Maybe the game might look something like Pokemon DX or something like that. If you know what I'm talking about, like, you know, the Lucario, Shadow Lugia, and all of that good stuff. I said Lucario, but Shadow Lugia and DX, whatever them games was called on GameCube, they might look something like that, of that nature, and that would be very good, because like we really don't get to see any games that like take take that 3DS power and really bring it in and keep it in 3D. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, when I was watching the original video at the E3 conference, I think it said that this time the game will actually be able to be played in 3D or 2D. So that means like we're gonna be getting this whole 3D experience probably, and that would be very very good too, because that means they actually came either to a compromise, and I don't really think they came to a compromise with the Hoenn region. So maybe they just like took that time, that extra time they had, them couple months they had to actually get this engine that they were using, that they just made, to actually get this engine running with 3D graphics through the whole game. And maybe we won't experience that lag anymore, because like there are bigger games and stuff out on the 3DS that's literally coming out like right now. If you can go look a couple of them up, that are running in 60 frames per second, like, and I think they actually pushed the native resolution on the handheld console. So that's very very good, and it's really going to be revolutionary to see this game, because this game looked very clear. I don't even, like, as far as I remember, I don't even remember actually seeing Jaggies like how we did back when X and Y were getting their release trailers and their announcement trailers. I remember seeing a couple Jaggies here and there, like, when they were when they were moving and stuff, you would see a little blur. I didn't even see that this time. It was like basically everything was smooth. Now I'm gonna move into Team Magma and Aqua's leaders, Maxie and Archie. Now, these two, I really want to talk about these two, because these two are going to be in one of the most important points I have for my video. Now, Maxie and Archie, when you seen them in the trailer, and I had that in the loop as well, to where, so that way you guys can actually see what I'm talking about, and you can actually have it playing over and over again while I make this point. Now, I wanted to say that maybe this game is going to be a continuation to Gen 3. Now, I know a lot of you guys are like, no, these are complete remakes, and I can understand where you're coming from, but when you think about it, like, if you truly think about it, they're making Primeval, um, Groudon and Kyogre, and then they also have the Mega Evolutions of the two Pokemon. Now, this isn't truly enough of a reason to actually say so, but when you think about it, what remakes have actually had, and I know this is actually coming into the point that no remakes have actually had Mega Evolutions or anything like that as well, but what remakes have actually had, like, the legendaries change at all? Because they could have always did that with the remakes, like Hoenn region and stuff. They could have made this bomb ass version of Ho, or they could have made this bomb ass version of Lugia. Of course, with that DS power and stuff, especially with the type of things we were seeing in Black and White 2, and Black and White in general, we could have been seeing like these amazing ass games, these revolutionary ass games in the Pokemon series. But yeah, I'm thinking that they're gonna be gym leaders, and if they are gym leaders, in fact, gym leaders, maybe we're probably not gonna see them actually be the leaders, or maybe what they're probably gonna do is like they're probably gonna be trying to work towards their plans again in secret. Because if you remember in Pokemon Emerald and Ruby and Sapphire, they actually was saying at the end when Groudon and Kyogre was receding back into their general homes and things, like you can say the sea and the volcanoes and stuff, when they were going back home basically to go back to rest again, they were saying like this power shouldn't be used and stuff, like this power should be hidden and locked away. Humans cannot control the power of nature and things. So if they are in fact trying again, then I'm hoping that maybe they have like a real incentive. Because another one of the points I was going to make in the video, when I was going to make the video a little bit earlier during the announcement before we got any showings of the game, I wanted to say like maybe we might see something about them too, probably not even being the main villains. And I guess you could say that is kind of debunked now. But when you think about it, like a lot of games nowadays, a lot of things and a lot of themes and stuff behind games and villains is the fact that we don't actually get to see the main villains or the big villains or the cause of the villains until the end of the game. So we might see something like that in Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. Hopefully we do, because I don't want to be like Maxie and Archie and stuff, like, they're the main villains again. Because I do want to see the Gen 3 continue, even though we haven't gotten any like animation series or any type of manga series or anything like that dedicated to these new entries. Even though we are like a couple months away. I think we're like 5 months away from the release. Yeah, we're about 5 months away from the release of the games, and a lot of things can happen. You never know. We might get something like I forgot the name of the remakes with. I mean, yeah, the remakes or the animation with Red in from Gen One, and we might see something like that. So I'm not really sure. And as far as the premise of the game goes, I'm really hoping that we get to see something different, especially for us that have experienced um, Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire story before from the Hoenn region of the original games on the Game Boy Advance. And yeah, it would be very good to see something different happen. Like maybe Primeval and stuff instead of being in that town or something. Like, cause and another point I wanted to make about that while we're on like the town and stuff you be in when they are awakened. Um, I don't want to see like characters, especially with the power of the 3DS. I mean, it wasn't really too much about power with the Game Boy, but we could actually get to see like and feel in 3D and stuff what these characters are experiencing with this hardware, that like how they're feeling when this shit is going down, like tsunamis and stuff are being made, volcanoes are getting close to eruption level, the sea level rising consistently, and all of that good stuff. We get to see them actually go through this panic, and that's what I want to see in this game. Hopefully, we get to see something like that. So let's move right back into premise and stuff again. So I wanted to talk about the premise and stuff of the game. I hope we get to actually move on and don't just see the same stuff. And if we do have to see the same stuff, I'm hoping that maybe we can get something special. And another thing I wanted to talk about, if they did want to tell the original story again, maybe they should have Pokemon Emerald like as like a little extra game. You know what I'm saying? Like Pokemon Emerald, especially if they're not gonna make the remakes, because they never usually ship the remakes with the original game. I mean, with the remakes. I mean, shit, they never ship the third game from the remakes, but they do add some of the content from the third games into the remakes. So we never know what's gonna happen, but I'm really hoping that we get to actually get Emerald, because that was the fuller version of the games, as all the third versions of the games are. So it would really be truly, truly, truly good to actually see that come out. Like being able to hold Pokemon Emerald in my hand and Alpha Sapphire at the same time. It would be very good to have that, and I truly hope that they do something like that, because of the fact that like a lot of people still haven't experienced those games, and bringing them into this now and giving them this experience, they won't get to experience that stuff because of the fact that like the eShop isn't getting any Game Boy games right now, at least right now. So if we're not getting any Game Boy games, that mean like games like Emerald, instant buy games and stuff, like people would go buy instantly. Like it would probably sell a million, at least a million. That's the lowest number I put it at. A million copies sold if they probably bought it out on the eShop. Now I know a lot of people don't buy from the eShop and stuff like that because they want to have the freedom or will to sell it, or to like give it away and stuff like that to their friends once they're done with it, re-experiencing that, going on that nostalgia trip. Thumbs up to that nostalgia though. And all of that good stuff. So maybe we might see something like that in the remakes, and I'm hoping that we get that, because I really need my Pokemon Emerald again. I've been searching and searching, trying to buy it. Anybody that has it, like, because I had it before, I still own it. Like, it's at my house, my old house, but with my father and things. But yeah, I really want to play that game again, and I'm hoping we can actually get that, because this time I know, like with the Game Boy, I mean the Nintendo DS, when they came out with the remakes of the Johto region, that like a lot of power wasn't put into. I mean, a lot of power wasn't made to actually have like Emerald just sitting on the game. If you understand what I'm saying, because you know anything about specs, they didn't have the power to actually just have Emerald, the full game Emerald, just sitting on the game, waiting to be like played and stuff, like seamlessly through the game and stuff, like to where you can actually cut the game off, cut it back on, and then when you click on the whole region, you have Pokemon Crystal sitting right there and stuff. Like you can just click on it, and there you go. You have Crystal with probably better coloring and stuff like that in the game, the original version and stuff, and better music and soundtrack. So maybe we might see something like that. I'm hoping we see something like that. It would be damn sure good to see something like that. Like I would actually pay a whole $60 for that Pokemon game, and I wouldn't even buy it for Alpha Sapphire. I would buy it for fucking Pokemon Emerald. That's how much I love that game. It was my favorite Pokemon game of all time. I feel like it just did the best shit ever, especially with the Battle Frontier. And yeah, so moving on to the next, we have the world. expansion and things. Like the world as you can see it, it was basically, it seemed like bigger. It was scaled bigger, of course, because of the power of the 3DS and things and stuff. We have better opportunities and things, but like it seemed more expansive and more fuller than even X and Y was, and that's amazing because this really shows like what Gen 7 is actually gonna be like, especially if they're pushing that if they're not pushing their new engine and stuff for Pokemon games on the 3DS. Like you could really just take into like context, what are these Pokemon games gonna look like when we hit Gen 7? Gen 7 is probably gonna look like Pokemon Shadow Lugia, like how I said. Um we might see something like very, 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 very new and fresh and innovative and things like that because Gen 7 is full of endless opportunities now that we have mega evolutions. So many Pokemon can get mega evolutions, and going into this new region, we might be able to experience like a whole new thing, not just mega evolutions, but probably a whole new typing of Pokemon as well. So that would be very good, and I'm still hoping for that Dragon Eevee though, evolution. Even though I don't know how the hell it's gonna be made, maybe you would probably have to have like a dragon in front of your party and him second in your party, and then like you just train him or you switch him in, and when he get to a certain level, he'll become a dragon or something like that. Something like that, It doesn't really sound like an evolution, but you know what I'm saying. Like, there's no way you're gonna get a dragon out of happiness. That's what I'm saying. Stuff like that. Like you give him a dragon plate or something like that, and you make him real, real happy. That's not gonna happen. I don't see that happening. But yeah, moving on now and coming into story. Now this is where like Maxie and Archie come back into play here, and so does the premise and stuff. Now the story, even though story basically does mean premise, I still had to separate these two. The story and stuff, like going from being this little kid who didn't even have a Pokemon to becoming the Battle Frontier champion, which is above being the Elite Four champion as far as Pokemon Emerald took it. Like basically what I'm trying to find out is what are we going to be doing this time around, because the Battle Frontier should at least be in both versions of the game. Now featuring story, like how I said, if Maxie and Archie are in fact gym leaders, are they going to be the true villains of the games? Are we going to be experiencing the same people? Are we even still the exact same Brendan and May, or are we like in another verse to where like we're the same characters, but like these events are gonna be different. These events are gonna be flipped over on top of their heads and stuff, and maybe we're gonna be seeing like some whole new shit. Maybe we're gonna be seeing like dive with being able to jump out of the water and all of that good stuff. Like that's what I want to see. I want to see stuff like that. I want to see things that like mechanics in the game for your character, for Brendan or May or whoever you are, your name. If you want to put that in them slots for Brendan and May. What are we gonna be doing? How are we gonna impact the rest of the story? And what are we gonna be able to do to actually get to Primeval, Groudon, and Kyogre? Now, I'm hoping for Rayquaza to actually get this Primeval evolution as well. How is he gonna come into effect? As a matter of fact, like what is he gonna do this time around? Hopefully, this time we get to see him before we actually get to them final battles, because the like entry of him, while it was amazing, like it would just be basically them taking the same story again. Because if you remember in the Hoenn region, it wasn't the same thing trying to go get Ho. I mean, the Johto region remakes, it wasn't the same thing trying to go get Ho-Oh. Like you didn't go to. I mean, you went to the top of the tower to go get Ho, but like if you remember, it was basically some other shit. Like you was on some other shit. Like you actually saw Ho interact with you beforehand. So maybe we might see some stuff like that, and I'm hoping we do. Now we're moving into changes, and basically this is the same thing as the story and stuff. But I'm hoping to see like cities and stuff be far, far more expansive. Like I want to see big ass cities, because as we all know, like the Hoenn region was just fucking amazing with cities and stuff. Like the cities was big as shit. I was like, what the hell when I used to see these cities. But even though Pokemon has gotten bigger, maybe we'll see a bigger city like the first gym. Maybe that city will be bigger and more expansive and things. Routes and stuff may have more grass and more opportunities to catch newer Pokemon. And is new Pokemon gonna make their way into the game as well? Like, are we gonna see any new Pokemon, or are we just gonna see X and Y Pokemon added into the story of the Hoenn region? this all plays into changes and all of that good stuff and character development. How are Archie and Maxie gonna develop? Because of course, as Brendan and May, you don't develop. Are we gonna see friends and stuff like in X and Y? Those are a lot of changes and stuff that have yet to be answered, but they are things that I want to see. So, without further ado, guys, this is the wrap up of my video. I hope you guys are as ready for Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire as I am. Well, I didn't get to the Mega Evolutions, but that's for another video because I want to make sure that we get to see all the Mega Evolutions before I do that. Like how I always do it, just get a whole lot of information and then just be able to have a long discussion with you guys because I really want to hear you guys impact and I want to make sure that I'm actually going to be able to cover this game for you guys. So yeah, wrapping this video up, I really wanted to just say that basically I'm hoping that I will be able to cover Pokemon, at least Alpha Sapphire for you guys. Now I might buy Omega Ruby because of the fact that no one I know have a 3DS as well, meaning I won't be able to get the Pokemon from Omega Ruby unless I do it via trading, and I don't want to be doing trading and stuff like my Kyogre for somebody's Groudon. Like it wouldn't make sense for me to give up my Primeval Kyogre for somebody else's Groudon. And I'm hoping to get some like legendaries as well beforehand. And speaking of that, I hope that like the events stay the same. I hope we get to see the same events. Like we don't have to go through the event process due to the fact most of us already know where the events are coming from due to the fact that we are the people that push them to actually go ahead and bring these remakes out as fast as they did, especially with the Johto region just being released like 4 years earlier. I think, if I'm not mistaken, every remake has been somewhere around 8 years apart. Hold on. Let's see. Let's see. From 1998 to 2004, so that's 6 years, and then from here to here, that's 9 years. So basically, it stays around this period of like six, basically to 9 years. So basically, it's like this. It's like it takes a long time for them to actually remake the games. That's what I'm trying to say. And with the Hoenn region just having a game out in 2005 and we're just now in 2014, that is actually fitting into the 9 year period. So basically, but yeah, we did push them to actually reveal this game because you could tell when they revealed it, like they was just getting into development. So we know as fans of Pokemon, as fans of the Hoenn region, Gen 3 lovers and Gen 3 Pokemon entry lovers and stuff that just came in Gen 3. I came in at Gen 1, but I fell in love with Pokemon at Gen 3 with May and stuff, especially with the anime and stuff. I used to watch Pokemon back then still. Shit, I was like 12 to 13 years old still watching this shit. But like it was still amazing though. So I'm really hoping that you guys could actually stick around. Hit that subscribe button if you want to see Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire in the future. I will be covering the whole story, giving my thoughts on it. And if basically life says the same, I will be giving out a version of the game. Someone like you can tell me your copies and stuff, what type of copy you want for the game, Omega Ruby or Alpha Sapphire, and I'll be giving it away to you guys. But that's only for my subscribers, my followers on Twitter, and my Facebook like page likers, and all of that information is in the description below, so you actually have to go there, hit me up, like leave a comment and I'll know. Hit that subscribe button, and when you leave a comment, of course I'll get back to you and I'll check my subscribers and stuff for you. And you guys that are actually subscribed, you are the guys that will be entered into this challenge and stuff to actually be able to get these games from me for free, like probably when we get halfway through the game or to the end of the game. And I hope you guys really do stick around. Like, I'm not here to do this just for views. Like, this is one of my favorite Pokemon games of all time. And another announcement that I want to make is that I will be covering Pokemon Emerald when we get close. Probably about a month before Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire release. So that way you guys can actually go through this nostalgia trip with me. And we can actually go through and do this thing. And we'll be done before Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire come out. Or before release date. And I'm hoping that's where we ended at, because then we get to just move on into the next adventure, the remakes and things, and we all can just be like fresh into this adventure. So if you guys would like to stick around for that as well, I will be going ahead and bringing that out to you guys probably around midsummer. I'll bring it out and you guys will be able to see it So yeah, stick around for those games. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and don't forget to come back here if you don't to re-enter to get into the Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire giveaway. And thank you guys for tuning in. I had a lot of fun making this video for you guys, even though I started fucking up because shit, I'm kind of getting sick already. So I knew I had to make this video for you guys, and I'm actually losing my shit. So thank you guys for tuning in as well. Don't forget to do a little A-Class gaming, and peace the heck out.